Hello, my beautiful people. I'm Elizabeth Molina, and I am your beauty guru. In this podcast, I will share with you all you need to know about beauty from the inside out. You will gain access to the latest beauty trends from head to toe, mind and soul. You will hear from experts themselves, the trendy influencers, celebrities, athletes, and of course, myself on all things beauty. This is definitely the place to be biohacking, beauty hacking, life hacking into the why for your beauty routine. Are you ready for your glow up session? Today's podcast guest is the co-founder and CEO of Young Goose. His name is Amitey. Amitey is an entrepreneur in the biohacking and beauty spaces. He's also, like I said, the co-founder and CEO of Young Goose, a biohacking skincare company, and he is also the host of the Young Goose, a biohacking beauty podcast, which is super duper cool. And we get to really go in today and kind of talk about what is biohacking, how does it fit in the beauty space, and how is this beauty line merging the two together. Of course, these are some of my favorite topics, so we are going to be diving in. Welcome, Amitay, to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm actually very excited to be on the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm excited because you're doing some amazing things, and I want to talk about the journey. We're obviously, this is a beauty podcast. I'm all about beauty, holistic, inside and out, mind and soul, all of it. This all interconnected, and you have a very interesting story. You come from a different background, like you have a military background. So
Yeah.
do you mind? How do you go from being in a tactical division in the Israeli army to basically biohacking skincare to give us a new technology that we haven't seen yet? Can you tell us about that? I would love, our audience and I are like intrigued.
Yeah, I think that this is a twofold answer because the short answer is where I was in the military and I was in a very small unit, in an even smaller task force in that unit. And it was a special operations unit in the Israeli military. And the short answer is you learn to think outside the box, and you learn that the enemy is always innovating. So you have an intrinsic urge to innovate and to find the next step to whatever the large goal that you've set is. So that's the short answer. If you want to hear a little bit of the story, um,
Yes.
as we said, I ended up the end of my military career was heading the reconnaissance task force and section of my small special forces unit in Israel. Life is very demanding. There are a lot of ups and downs and a lot of negativity you see around you, especially if you serve kind of in the front line. And when I kind of found myself in the private sector, being asked to manage individuals because this is where the kind of profession I chose. I got addicted, you might say, to the amazing feeling you're getting when you're giving another person the opportunity to feel better about themselves. And that was such a sharp contrast uh, in comparison to what I did before. And it was so speaking into my soul, if you would. I love that feeling when you know you made an impact in someone's life, a positive impact. That I have been chasing that feeling. So I started in Israel is amazing in innovation in the beauty space as well, but mainly in cosmetic procedure innovation. So anything that's got to do with cold lasers or types of peeling lasers, types of radio frequency devices. You'd be surprised, probably, you know, 8 out of 10 treatments that you've undergone, like ablative treatments, harsh treatments that you've undergone, if you would have, they were done with an Israeli product. So I started as an executive in that space, took the lessons I learned in my military career. How do you accomplish a mission? How do you build a tactic for that mission? And applied them to the private sector. And in before the pandemic, a few months before the pandemic, we've launched a startup that's called Young Goose. And this startup basically aims to really ring in all of the latest biohacking innovations and bottle them up into as simple as possible skincare product. And that's another area that I feel skincare is kind of going awry, where you have, one product to every half a problem. You need a few products to
Yes.
each problem. So part of our idea was, yeah, have all of these amazing new technologies there, but make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, what a great story. And I love how you brought in the military of like solving a problem. You have to be in head, you have to prepare, you have to strategize. And here's the same thing. We're strategizing against time, gravity, the pollution in the air, the food that we eat, what we drink. This is what you are kind of trying to plan in head, is what you're saying. You're strategizing. How do I optimize my skin, my health for mitigating really what's happening on in the environment and in the world? Everything is changing, so I love that. But how did you guys come up with the name Young Goose? I really think it's very interesting. I try to think of it like, what is a young goose and what does it look like and why do we want to be like young geese? So tell me about the name.
First of all, the fact that you're already asking about the name, uh, to me is a small win, because we wanted an interesting name, and when we established our startup, the name was different. The name was called Hormesis, and hormesis is a positive effect that the body undergoes because of stress. Unfortunately, our goal is larger than just skincare, and in other spaces that we were hoping to kind of expand to, the name was taken. So
Mm,
we had to kind of scramble and find a new name, and my partner thought of the name. Obviously, we want the end goal is to maintain youth, um, and the connotation of a goose, which to us is a very positive animal. That was a
yeah.
nickname in the military as well, and so it wasn't necessarily about me, but the connotation was very positive to us, and it rang nicely. A nice Israeli saying, it doesn't apply in every situation, is nothing better than good enough. If it's good enough, it's good enough. So we all like the name. There's no reason in a lot of areas in life to over complicate things and to overthink things. And we try to apply this principle where it fits.
It's a cool name. The packaging is really beautiful. I like that it's air like sealed, like you just pump and it comes out. I mean, there's so many great things about the packaging. The way that you guys deliver it is just beautiful packaging. But I was like trying to figure out, like, does it stand for something? Is he gonna tell me it's like some sort of peptides? I was like breaking my head. Like, what is? Usually, I'm pretty good at figuring out the names and like what they mean, where they came from, where the origins, and I couldn't figure this one out. And I'm like, I just have to ask him. Like, it's an interesting name. It's a beautiful, packaging. If you guys are watching this live, you could see I'm holding up the bottle of one of their what they're really known for, which is a product called Care, and it's a night cream. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Before we do, I kind of want to ask more questions about skincare. So why anti-aging? Like, how come?
Like every addiction, you don't plan to get addicted beforehand, right? Um,
No.
that includes good addictions as well. I'm going to tell you about a recent interaction I had with a lady named Lillian, who's a professional esthetician, and obviously she already knew the product, but working with her and making sure the product succeed with her business, and to see how from a person that has a lot of personal issues, sons with that are not rocking it in life at the moment, that have challenging lives, and you can see a person with a lot of burden when I've encountered her the first time. And the addicting feeling is the fact that I didn't solve anything else in her life. I didn't go and fly to Australia and counsel her son or whatever that would be. But what I did do is create a difference in a specific area of her life that has proliferated to other areas because she feels amazing about herself and what she can achieve, and she feels hopeful about the future. And I believe that when we have this approach, not from a like a fugazi kind of standpoint of other things are just going to fall in line, but you are going to be
Yeah.
tackling things, your attitude's going to be much better, and other things are going to respond better to you. So that's
Yeah,
just
no,
an
for sure.
anecdotal example. In general, because I started in that beauty space, these were the responses I got addicted to when people go through a transformation or are hopeful about the future. They can see a light at the end of the tunnel, if you would, or they can see how they're going to be more confident. Confidence, I think, is underrated in general. That's something I feel I can really touch people individually. What we try to do in this company is obviously reach out to more people and end up as being the golden standard for skincare and biohacking skincare or anti-aging skincare. But that's a large goal. I'm addicted to the personal feeling of meeting a person and changing their lives personally.
Oh yeah, I can obviously relate to that, and that is a feeling that I don't even know what there's like no word to describe it. There's no money that can buy it. It's just you just feel like fulfilled, like your mission in life, you're doing it. And I know the feeling, and that's why I do the work that I do. You do the work that you do. And that kind of is a good segue to go into your podcast. You have a podcast. And
Yeah.
in the podcast, you kind of provide listeners with different aspects, different strategies, tips and tricks, I want to say, for like general skincare, anti-aging. You talk about biohacking. What's the most interesting, unusual question that you have heard, or yeah, that you've heard on the podcast or in general that you've answered on there?
Coffee enemas. No, I'm kidding. That's just because we talked about it before
That's
air.
mine. That's
Yeah.
my.
When you asked me this question, what came to my mind is the using snail secretion as an anti-aging
Oh my God.
ingredient. If we zoom out, really the expectation or the belief that there is a quick fix, that there is something that we can apply on our skin and never mind, our other daily habits or whatever that would be, that's going to change our skin. So snail secretion is very interesting because the way that the myth behind it is that people who were picking cotton would get laceration in their hands, and they've noticed that the skin healed faster if by mistake they've brushed against a snail. So that's where that comes from, and a lot of Korean products have it. And when we have designed our eye cream, we really looked at what in the skin reacts to what in the snail secretion. We could isolate those peptides and create a product out of them. But when you first hear about it and you think of smearing snails on your face, to me it's just such a funny image to me that
Yeah.
that definitely that's one of the. I have another one for you that I've just thought of.
Tell me. Tell me. Tell me.
That's something that's gaining more and more popularity. As we know, or if people don't know, red and near infrared rays have positive
Oh,
effects
yes.
on our cells. And these are the rays that are very prominent during sundown or sunset and sundown. And the question was, is the rumor true that you get health benefits from exposing your anus to the to the
I've heard
to the
this one.
sun? That to me seems like there are other, alternatives, but that's definitely another thing out there.
You beat me. I was gonna say I know about the bird poop one where you
Yeah,
put the I forget that one. I forget the bird's name because that's like an oldie.
yeah.
And then have you heard of the fire facial?
No,
They take fire and they light your face on fire, um, and it's a facial.
is that like a laser resurfacing for on a
No,
budget?
no. Probably, maybe, I don't know. So that's one, and one that we've been talking a lot about is an anaconda facial, where you get an anaconda snake who is trained. I'm doing air quotes if you guys can't see. The anaconda's trained and well fed, and it like relieves tension from your face. And apparently, it's like a really big trend. But I know, like in Asian countries, they do it. Some zoos do it to subsidize, I guess, to get money with their from their anacondas. I don't know, but that's some of the new trends that are coming up: the fire facial and the anaconda facial. So if you hear about those, let me know.
Okay.
The sun one really there's an actress who did a blog about it, and she swears by it. Every morning she wakes up and she does it, and she says that's her secret to looking great.
Okay,
I don't
fantastic.
know her
I
name.
would just say that normal, you don't even need to choose super high-end light therapy devices. So Chroma starts at 1500, and Zero Gravity's Perfectio X is like 8000. These are devices that not everyone should have it in their home, but like a $300, or I think they even have a smaller one now, Juve light panel.
Juve is pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, and that has, if I'm not mistaken, about 12 times the power that you're going to get from the sun as far as near infrared and red. So I'd really suggest her trying this.
Well,
If
you have your options. Amitay just gave you some options. He
Yeah,
gave you the free one, go outside in the sun and beware,
yeah,
or buy some devices and try it out for yourself. But
yeah.
that was very interesting. Okay, so I want to know what beauty means to you and how you apply this in your daily life.
I am obsessed with sports. That's kind of a remnant of my early life, and I love contact sports. And contact sports involve a lot of injuries. To me, when I'm injured, I don't feel good about myself, and about myself physically. It's like your body is betraying you. And because I consider myself not a very vain person from a beauty standpoint, I would equate the feeling of a healthy body and the confidence that the healthy body gives you, or when you're unconfident because your body's quote unquote failing you, to a feeling of being beautiful and being outside. At least that's the way I understand it. So to me, beauty is confidence, and I said before that confidence is underrated,
Yes.
because confidence allows us to shed some of our fears, some of the masks that we kind of don, to walk around in the world and not reveal our full self and our full personality. And when a person is confident, they're less afraid of judgment and making mistakes. They show more of their personality, and like a snowball, they are better looking to themselves and to other people. So
Yes.
it's a snowball, right? You look better, you feel better, you get better feedback from the environment because you're nicer, because you're more friendly, more loving, etc., more generous, and you get generosity back. You feel better, you release it. So to me, that process, that being on a roll, if you would, that's what beauty means to me. That's what the feeling of being beautiful means to me.
That's not just beautiful, but I can imagine that that feels good. Like feels amazing and it's contagious. Like what you're describing, the way that you see beauty sounds contagious, like you said, because when you're confident, there's like a little bit of vulnerability there because you're just showing up and being your best self and your confident self. And then that allows other people around you to also embrace themselves and be confident and say, wow, me too, I can do it too. So that
Yeah.
is like, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's like the recipe for life.
Yeah, and I love that you said vulnerability, because vulnerability has two sides. There is an innate, if we can think of someone in our brain that just, a negative part of our brain that just waits for something negative, some negative image of yourself to pop up, and that little person in your brain tells you how much you were like that all this time and kind of takes you down. And that's one part of vulnerability,
Yes.
which I'm not I what that did not what occurred to me when you said vulnerability. There's another part of vulnerability, which is when you're so confident and so self-accepting, and you might hear some criticism, or something might remind you an imperfect part of yourself. There is a vulnerable confident side where you're recognizing, you're saying, yeah, I'm not perfect. These are sides. Maybe I need to work on, maybe, that's my luck, and I'm not, no one's perfect. And that type of inclusive, accepting vulnerability is empowering. It's self-accepting vulnerability. And when we're confident, when we come from a self-accepting place, because we feel beautiful, because we feel healthy, because we feel important and essential to the world, that is part of the whole package. You can accept yourself and your misfortune.
Guys, if you're not taking notes, pause it, screenshot the podcast right now, listen to it again because this is beauty. This is different aspects of beauty from different perspectives, and this is so beautiful just to hear. Like as I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh, that just feels so nice. Like just imagining that. So thank you for sharing that with us, with our audience, because sometimes we need a reminder of what beauty is. It's not just the superficial, the wigs or the lashes or the treatments. It's a feeling, the confidence that you spoke about, the vulnerability, the showing up, the acceptance. So I love that you said that.
Unless you really surround yourself with mirrors, beauty isn't personal. Beauty is something that you can't see yourself for all the time, right? It's only when you really take time to look at yourself is when you see yourself. So beauty is much more a feeling than a physical existence, if you would. That is why I did not answer as far as like physical attributes, because really that's a very small part of beauty. The biggest part is your feeling. Yeah.
And there are programs where people don't look at a mirror for 30 days or 21 days and they say that it's been life changing. People around them respond to them so much better. They even like forget about the outside beauty and it's just internal. So I want to stress this because this is such a great topic, especially since we've been home since the pandemic. The world has changed, and I think this is a great reminder. And taking it back to your company, Young Goose, right? Now that we know the name, I want to ask you about your very special care cream, which is like what you said you guys are known for.
Yeah.
Tell me about the care. Does the care stand for anything, or that's just
Yes.
another?
CARE
Okay,
is an
tell us.
acronym for Cellular Anti-Aging, Repair, and Energy.
Wow. Okay,
And
good.
it is a groundbreaking cream, and I'll explain shortly why. The main patent that we're using in that cream is called NR Noble, and that is an accumulation of NAD precursors. So NAD, if to quote David Sinclair, who is a Harvard professor but also one of the more prominent anti-aging researchers in the world, NAD is the closest we have gotten to the fountain of youth. It is also something that if we took it from the body, let's say took all the NAD from your body, you will be dead in 30 seconds. So it's an essential molecule that is involved in more than 600 processes. And
Wow.
and the reason it's the energy is there is because one of its main claims to fame is it's how it facilitates energy creation. So anytime we convert calories that we eat into energy that our cells use, they need NAD as kind of the waiter that carries that around. And the more NAD you have, the more the cells can take care of themselves. And I'm sure it's of no surprise to hear that it declines with age. Um,
Yes.
and that by the time we're 60, we have about 50% of the NAD that our
Oh
cells
my God.
are used to and need. And that causes a
No,
lot.
but you're here to save the day.
Yes, exactly. That causes a lot of mistakes, a lot of unrepaired damage in the cells, and the cells want to repair themselves, but they never get that supply of NAD. Today, the NAD supplement industry is a $250 billion industry. Just to give you an
Wow.
idea how many people believe in this product, it's one of the most researched anti-aging molecules to date. Um, if you know Nestle, their health division, which is one of the biggest as far as money invested, is heavily researching NAD precursors. And
Wow.
so that's a little bit about the background. The problem with that magic molecule, and we've only really touched the tip of the iceberg as far as its anti-aging properties, is that our body can't. It's not. It Our body can't receive it as a full molecule. You can't tell it, here you go, that's NAD, and the body is going to know what to do with it because it never has seen it before like that. There is no natural NAD in nature which we cannot consume. So the body needs the Lego pieces to make NAD. And like any Lego piece, you have one that's bigger, and you can create more from it and less. So NAD is being created from a few things that we would know. B3 is one of them, tryptophan, and a few other molecules which are less famous, which we have discovered recently. And the most effective in raising NAD levels, so the Lego pieces that are really the most useful, are NMN and NR. And NR Noble, that patent we're using, has both of them within it in a special formulation, which makes it highly bioavailable in the skin. And then we looked at the most up to date and reliable research, asked, okay, now what do we pair with this molecule to create a synergetic effect? So we have 10 other ingredients. We have B vitamins there. We have CoQ10, PQQ, resveratrol, actually a patented version of resveratrol, which is fermented, which makes it about 50 times more effective and less toxic for the skin. So there is a support group to NAD as well. And the ending result is activation of the genes that control repair and anti-aging. And we're activating and fueling them, throwing fuel on the fire, if you would, for those genes, and really making them ramp up their activity. And through that, we get anti-aging benefits that are skin specific. Because if you took a pill, whatever we just gave your skin in a very specific area, would have to divide within your bodies. And I'm not sure you want your
Okay.
toenails to anti-age as much as you want your crow's feet to anti-age. So it's nice to be able to choose.
Or you might,
That's
I think.
if someone has that concern, they can put our cream on their toenails. No, but yeah, the ability to choose is important. Not everyone has the same goals. I would love to perform at my highest athletic ability until I'm 100 years old. So I want to take the supplement. Someone else who would like to look the best when they're 100 years old might opt for the cream if it's a budgetary issue, or you could definitely do both.
So do you guys have a supplement? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying
Or
supplements are.
working on one?
We are working on one. We're working on one that is more all-encompassing. The best one at the moment from a different company that I'm not involved in, if I could recommend, is a
Yeah, please
is
do.
is a company called Novos, which is Novos. They have an amazing, amazing, amazing anti-aging product, and they also have NMN, which is an NAD precursor. So check them out. They're great. No affiliation, just a great company.
Amazing. Yeah, because as you're talking, I'm like, as coming from a biohacker, as a woman biohacker and beauty hacker, I'm thinking I want to get to 100 and look like I'm 55,
Yeah.
but I also want to be functional. Like there's no point to be that old and then also be like in diapers in a wheelchair hoping that my home attendant comes on time to
No.
change my diaper. Like that's not a good quality of life. So I'm like, can you do both?
Definitely, and that's your question is very profound, because if there is a way to have one and not the other, I haven't heard about it. The more we delve into medicine and health and wellness, the more we understand that systems are not working individually. Systems are intertwined. I'm talking about biological systems. Your machinery in your body isn't there are no they talk to each other, if you would, in order to achieve better skin. And this is backed by published substantial research. The healthier you are, the healthier your skin would be. I wanted to say, and vice versa, but that's not necessarily the case. But if you want to achieve healthy, young looking skin, your approach should be a holistic approach. And you should really ask yourself, how am I improving my overall health and wellness? And a healthy, young looking, vibrant, glowing skin would be a byproduct of that.
I love that. That's why we align. I cannot wait to try the product because I'm convinced I almost want to drink it. Is it edible?
So we're working on a we're working on a very, very, very natural version for those who are
Okay.
extremely picky. And that one of the things we kind of wrote down. It's funny because it's like you looked at our board. One of the things we wrote down is that you could eat it. Just to give you an idea, the process that we're manufacturing really tailors those NAD precursors, those NAD raising molecules. It really dials them to be skin specific, and there are other strategies who make them more bioavailable when you ingest them. There are also, just to let you know, IVs of NAD, which a
Yes.
lot of people like and do, which seem very effective, and they have their own challenges as well. It's a very long process. You need to be in a room 8 to 12 hours, or
Yes.
do it really, really, really fast, which is 1.5 hours, and you basically look like you got attacked by bees. You flush very severely,
I
and
did that and I look like I was attacked by bees. And I don't mean to cut you off, but
no,
you know, when you spoke about your product and it was bioavailability available and you spoke about the Lego pieces, that's a very important piece that we didn't really highlight. You can have these products and that's why these things are patented, right? You have a patent on these things because those Lego pieces that make it bioavailable are so important because you're doing nothing for yourself. You're literally peeing out the water. Your body is going to metabolize something that it doesn't understand what that is. It's going to say, I don't know what you're here for. I don't know your purpose. You must be garbage. So you're just going to get rid of it. And when you're even the drip, the drip that you're talking about, the NAD drip, I'm very sensitive. So like when I try something, I will tell you right away, my kidneys don't like it. My liver is not approving of this. This is not like in a good form. So when I did the NAD drip, I felt horrible. It didn't have the Lego pieces that Amitey is talking about, and that's very important. So you can go and do these things, but just make sure that you check the quality, check where this this is coming from. Is it bioavailable? Because you could just buy use it and then you're doing nothing for yourself. So I wanted to add that there because we didn't really go over the importance of those Lego pieces that you're talking about that your company has patented, which is why I'm like, can I ingest this? Because if this is bioavailable, this is gonna work out for me. And if you guys are watching this or listening to this, I'm like literally like waving the product on the screen right now because I cannot wait to try it. But yeah, you were saying about the NAD drip, Amitay. Sorry I interrupted you, but I wanted people to know the importance of these Lego pieces, how you call them, and you
yeah,
said it so beautifully. But that's how your body can understand what it is.
yes, and it's funny. I was just talking about it yesterday with an amazing functional medicine doctor called here in Miami. If anyone needs a recommendation, his name is Dr. Elliot Denez, and we were talking about the option of introducing NADIVs to his practice. And the problem with NADIVs is that your brain actually knows what to do with NAD. It gets it like as a packaged product, and it knows how to use it. Your liver has some idea how to use it, but the rest of your body, your muscles, your skin, etc., doesn't. And that's where you see this flush. It needs to really break it down to niacin, and that's what you're flushing. And and kind of build it back up. And this process isn't perfect at all. And
And it's not pleasant, by the
it's not pleasant,
way.
and that it creates waste. And those genes that we talk about, those anti-aging genes, they're not. It's not going to activate them fully or at all. So that's important to understand. And just to kind of connect to what you were saying, you are very intuitive, and you know if your liver doesn't like something or your kidneys, and that's a gift because most of us need to eat a couple of McDonald's before we understand McDonald's is bad for us. Sorry, McDonald's, for mentioning you all the time. But even if you're not that intuitive, you should be feeling, oh, I'm feeling way better the day after, or not. And so the problem with NAD drips are that they're not perfect. They're very good for brain function, so they're used extensively for addiction, and they're used for pain management. Both are neurological in their base. And the best facility in the United States, in my opinion, is in Springfield, Louisiana, by a doctor named Dr. Mattier. So that's definitely my first choice. Their IV is called BR plus NAD. But if you are not interested in your brain specific, you're looking for a more holistic approach, we're still waiting for NAD precursors to be introduced into IVs. And our R&D is looking into it. It's a long process. These molecules don't like water. So in general, when you're looking at using them as in an IV, they're not very stable, and that's where the problem comes from. So really, I feel our solution, our no pun intended, but the our product is definitely a solution as far as biohacking our skin and our epigenetics, our anti-aging genetics of our skin. How do we maintain DNA integrity, and how do we maintain proper skin function, which results in diminished fine lines, wrinkles, tighter skin, less pigmentation, also less irritation from other products. You would get less sun damage when you are exposed to the sun, etc. So it just makes your skin behave like a younger skin, and you could think of how that looks and feels like.
Oh my God, I love that. I'm like, so I will be a little biased because I love like Israeli products because I'm not super dark, but I'm not super white. I have like a tan color, but I get freckles. And
Hmm.
like Israeli products, I feel like because the sun is so hot there, this is a concern for everyone there, how to protect from sun damage, how to protect from the hyperpigmentation. So most of the products are developed for that, which is exactly what I need and probably so many people. But here's a caveat that I'm like excited for. Like your skin is the largest organ in on your body and it absorbs, right? Like there's some minerals, some things that are transdermal, they're the best way to absorb. Like magnesium, the best way to absorb it is transdermal. Like you can take a magnesium supplement, it's not going to be as effective as take, sometimes they have like transdermal patches, or you can get in a bath and get like really great magnesium flakes or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. But so we forget about that. We forget that the skin is an organ and it absorbs. And like you said, it communicates with your body and it'll take it. So whatever I feel like your skin on your face is not using, I feel like your body's going to absorb it and maybe place it in other places. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys have studies on that, but I will be interested in the future when you guys do that. So this is exciting. You guys are kind of, skincare has come a long way with technology and it's only getting better. So I'm excited about this. But can you tell us a little bit about the Care Boost? I have the Care Boost. I do. This one does work. Not that meaning like they all work, but the pump works. And I did try it and it's really nice. So can you tell us about the Care Boost and what is it used for? Like, tell us about it.
When we started, we had one product, and this product was received so well. People were asking us, well, I want to have a product that would complete it, or a product that is similar that I could use during the day. So Boost is a product to be applied during the day, like a day cream, that
Oh,
would
okay.
capitalize. You could use it on your on its own. It has wonderful antioxidant, but the secret is its real purpose is capitalizing on the raised NAD levels from the night before, from when we applied the night cream. So, FYI, if it ever comes up on trivia, NAD levels peak 8 hours after supplementation, and skin supplementation is the same in that aspect. So we capitalize really on close to the peak of NAD, and now we're using a formulation that really asks the body, okay, create more collagen, do it here and here, etc. So we have amazing peptides there. We have amazing way to communicate with the body on how we want it to repair itself, and the skin how we want it to repair itself, and kind of accelerate that process. And we have more of that patented resveratrol, which activates those anti-aging genes that are fueled by NAD. So now our cells have a lot of NAD. We're asking it, okay, it's anti-aging time. Let's go. And that would also provide some protection from our environment, from smog, from free radicals. It's not an SPF, so you're welcome to use an SPF over it. But as far as DNA damage, as far as damage really being done at the core level of our skin, that's going to mitigate some of it.
Wow. Okay. Sold. And I also have here, I'm going to just like bombard you with questions because I know that our listeners are going to want to know about your product line. You have a lip one, which I definitely want to get because I'm a big lip girl. Like,
Okay.
what, pun intended, I have big lips, but I like moisturizing my lips. And it's very hard to find a good product that doesn't clog the pores,
Yeah.
that keeps the lips moistened. Like, if you have big lips, they're always dry because they're big. So I'm interested in your product. But I have this eye care. So tell us a little bit about the eye care, and then I'm gonna like bug you with some more questions because
Amazing.
we are loving this line.
Just something small about the lip plumper. So one of the challenges that people have with lip plumper is the fact that they ingest some of it, and it really causes most of the time heartburns or tingling irritation, because that's the purpose of a lip plumper, right? To kind of stimulate a little bit the blood flow, and our digestive tract doesn't really agree with it. That was our challenge, and that is as far as why the lip plumper is interesting or unique, is because it is very healthy for you. It doesn't have any harmful substances or irritating substances. So that's just about that. We'll make sure we send you one. As far
Wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah.
I want to throw in a little fun fact there. Ladies and gentlemen who wear lipstick, you swallow about 4 pounds of lipstick a year. You ingest it as a byproduct of applying lipstick.
The problem in skincare formulation is that normally when I increase a percentage of a product, I'm doing it to get more results, but I'm also increasing toxicity levels. I'm increasing the side effects of that product, of that molecule that we're increasing its amount, and we get some negative side effects. So that's one of the challenges. And by isolating what works and kind of stripping it down from other molecules that are normally with it, if we think of snail secretion as kind of a formulated product, we can increase the good aspects and decrease the negative aspects, and that we try to do with all of formulation, by the way. Um, and what we've isolated are the peptides that are active there and that cause skin rejuvenation. The most important peptide we have there, and that is a rising star in the biohacking community, is copper tripeptide 1, more
Yes.
you know more well known as GHKCU, which is very effectively in early stages of hair loss, and there is abundant research showing its efficacy in skin rejuvenation, collagen production, and really that's kind of a game changer in anti-aging. We have pushed the limits so far. We really have the highest levels, highest percentages of active ingredients that a standard skin can tolerate. And our next step would be to integrate our NR Noble into that cream. But because that formula is so rich, um, is designed to combat another aspect of genetic aging, of fundamental aging, a core aspect of aging, which is skin thinning. So it thickens the skin. This is called, by the way, skin thinning is caused by glycation. Our product really thickens the skin, makes it smoother, and people might feel slight tingling when they apply it. That is not a reaction. That is just because it is so active. We love talking about our care product. That's our claim to fame. And what we notice that normally the first product people get addicted to is our eye care, which is the product we just spoke about.
Yeah, no, I love that because I got addicted to it right away
Yeah,
because it feels like it's working because there's like a tingling effect.
yeah,
And and yeah, so I could see why people would get addicted to that. It's sounds amazing.
yeah.
And my last question before we kind of keep on, wrapping the podcast up because I don't want to take up too much of your time and we want to
No
keep the
worries.
listeners here, with maybe we'll have another one and we'll talk more.
Definitely.
Um, are you guys gonna have a sunscreen?
Okay, so a few things about sunscreen. Yes, the answer is yes, but sunscreen in general, as a claim, as a sun protectant, is a medical claim, and it's actually very
Mm,
complicated. So the easy thing to do is to go to a manufacturer and just buy their sunscreen formulation. If you don't want to do that, if you really want to innovate, you're looking at a few hundreds of thousands of dollars in red tape, really, in research showing the FDA that it's a safe product. Because again, if you look at any sunscreen that you're using, you're going to see your ingredient list. You're going to see drug facts because it's considered an over-the-counter drug, and that is not as simple as formulating any other product. We will have a sunscreen because another guiding principle that we have is making sure we don't overcharge the our customers. In order to make it financially smart, we would have to wait a while. What we do have that increases resilience to the sun is a product called BioC peptide spray, and the thought behind it is we looked at people using thermal water, just water sprays on their face, and they were spending
yes.
over $10 spraying water on their face, which we weren't judging anyone, but we were saying, how about people do the same thing but get some benefits from it? So we have a very special type of vitamin C there. We have about 3% of it. And that very special type of vitamin C in that concentration actually increases your resilience to sun damage. So that's something very good just to use in
Wow.
general. You can use it as a toner or you can use it just as a kind of refresher. Um, if you're asking about sunscreens in general, thankfully in the last few years, zinc oxide, which people might remember from their youth because their lifeguards used to put it on the nose, it was white powder, which is a natural sunblock and not a chemical one, is now widely available as a nano-sized version. So you can't see those white particles. So look for zinc oxide as your natural sunscreen. You can see a lot of companies saying mineral sunscreen. It can be a good code word for you to look at because chemical sunscreens have been linked with some bad side effects.
Right. Okay. We're excited
Yeah.
to try your mist. So that's a good. Can you apply that over makeup as a refresher?
Yes.
Like, will
Yes.
the effects be the same?
Yes.
Awesome, guys. Check out that product. It sounds amazing, great. And like, if you're gonna be misting your face already, I probably use it as a setter.
Yeah.
Why not do something that adds a little bit of extra TLC? I love that. I love that your company is so conscious and so thoughtful of like all the reasons of why what you're doing. It's like multitasking on steroids. I
Yeah.
love that.
That's our
Yeah.
MO. That's our MO. Our MO is we're not standard. If you look at what's happening in skincare in general, most companies, what they will try to do is that they're going to try to take a current trend and attach themselves to the current trend.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. The whole time, you guys, I'm like smiling. He's speaking my language. Biohacking meets beauty, science, and consciousness. I mean, what else could I ask for, right? Okay, so the beauty circle is this tool that I develop and I use with my clients. It's a category. It has 10 different categories. So I always ask my guests, what from that category are you excelling in right now, and what from that category from the beauty circle are you needing some more TLC? So that could look like, I need to get more sleep because we started like having more sales than ever. I need to work on my water intake because I've been so busy. So I would love to hear from you like biohacking in the space. What is it that you're excelling in, and what is it that you need help in? Because we're human and we're not always
Yeah.
perfect, and I want the guests to know that.
for me, the answers you kind of gave them, but for me, they're very easy. What I excel in is movement because I'm one of my addictions is contact sports. So I do jujitsu. I train every day at least once, if not twice,
Wow.
and so definitely that is something I excel in because it is very easy for me to excel in it. I'm addicted to it. What I'm not excelling in, and that you've mentioned, is sleep because we are a growing company. And what happens when you're a growing company is that your reference for yesterday, as far as the time you need to allocate to certain stuff, what unexpected events you should expect is skewed. Is in a smaller scale. Every time I wake up, my evil self tells me, "Oh, you should snooze the button and go back to sleep." Anything you do is forming a habit. Anything you do, every decision you make takes you in a certain into a certain direction, and it's that can maybe cause you to be more conscious about certain decision you're making, what you put in your mouth, what you put on your skin, what you definitely put in your mind, and the you know your attitude on life.
Yes. Oh my God. You are crushing it today here. The listeners are getting so much information. We went from your military days, from your units, to biohacking, to beauty hacking, to life hacking, to now hacking your mind, which is the most important thing. It's always
Yes.
mind over matter, right? So I love that we're hearing this today because if you can think it, you can do it. So, Amite, we're getting towards the end of the podcast, and I want to ask you another thing that I ask all of my guests. It's not even related to beauty because I think that beauty is a holistic thing, and it's not just one thing. It's not just the product that you put on or what you eat, or like you said, it's what you have in your mind. There's so many parts to it. So what is one advice that you would have given your younger self, like today, the Amite that's here right now? What would you have told the younger version of yourself? Like one advice.
You're going to be okay.
Oh, I
The reason
love that.
the reason I'm saying it is because I believe fear or doubt is the antithesis to creativity and innovation. If you think about it, that is really, a nice saying is, what's the opposite of love? It's not hate, it's no feeling at all, or something like that. It's not caring. And you can play the same game as far as innovation and creativity. The opposite is doubt and fear. And um, I wish I was more adventurous in my youth because that would have bred more innovation, more generosity, because I love innovating for the greater good, and more happiness, more joy. Um, Joy is ultimate generosity. So,
Yes.
so to me, knowing that you're going to be okay unshackles you from your doubt and from your fear, and now you can really rock on and do what you feel like you're meant to do, or what you want to do, which is the most important, I feel.
Wow, that piece of advice is so good. I'm sure that somebody today who's listening to us is taking that and hearing it, and it's resonating with themselves, with their soul, because you are going to be okay. And what a great piece of advice. And that's not just applicable like years ago, but today, every day, you're going to
Definitely.
be okay. Yeah, I love that. Okay, Amite, I have a section here before we end called brag time. You get to brag about yourself, what you're working on. It doesn't have to be just work or the beauty products. It could be, I don't know, you won the karaoke contest that you went to. Like, it could be anything that you're proud of, anything you have coming up. Like, brag about yourself. This is your time to shine.
Okay, because to me, it's very cringy to brag about myself. I'm going to tell you what I'm excited about
Okay.
in my near future. So,
Wait,
um,
before you start, I know it's cringy, but I'm gonna put your advice that you said just now. Everything is gonna be okay.
yes,
So
definitely.
let's
Uh,
yes.
and also, I know I always tell myself, even if it's not true, it doesn't matter. I tell myself when I'm uncomfortable, I perform at my best. That's just a
Yes.
belief, that two things can happen. If you're comfortable, you're anyway going to perform well. And at least you should have the belief that if you're uncomfortable, you're going to even perform better. So,
Yes.
um, as far as that, but I really would like, I feel like bragging, as an Israeli, it's really frowned upon. Um, so I would take a different approach to it. I'm going
Okay.
to tell you that because Young Goose is still a startup, and we are committed to invest every dollar of our profits to research and development. Um, I am not I am not supporting myself through Young Goose. Thankfully, I've made enough money before, and in order to you know as an ongoing job, I do get a few speaking engagements in different continual education programs for doctors, if it would be that, or some business development for companies. So I'm very, very excited for my upcoming week. I'm going to be in New Orleans and then in Dallas. If anyone is there, you're welcome to reach out. I have a lot of free time, and I love traveling, and half of my um, waking time I'm probably in a different city. So you know what I'm excited about after this pandemic um, restrictions have lifted a little bit, and I can travel again. I'm very excited, meeting the new and tweaked United States. I'm very curious about cities that I used to adore, such as Austin and Portland, which I'm going to be later this month, next month, and Washington D.C. and New York. May it rest in peace. I don't know what's going on now in New York. You can tell me,
I'm in
but
New York.
yeah, I know. Maybe you can tell me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very excited. Again, my addiction is making a personal impact in people's lives, even though the greater goal of our company is doing that collectively. But because I'm going to satiate my craving for one-on-one difference in the next,
Yeah.
which I do often, but this week is going to be a great week for that. That would be my brag, my ability to travel and work and meet new people and make an impact in their lives.
Oh, I love that. Well, traveling is always fun. Making an impact is amazing, one person at a time.
Yeah.
And you're doing that. So I'm excited that you are doing those things. I just want to take a second to say thank you for coming on the podcast, sharing all of your insights and wisdoms with us, and being so brave to brag about yourself, even though we know that it is not, doesn't have a positive connotation in some countries, but that's okay. That's why we are here to change that up. And it's okay to talk about yourself, to enjoy your accomplishments and share them with others. And that's how I view brag time. So thank you for doing
Great.
that. And excited to be on your podcast pretty
Yes.
soon and do our live so you guys don't miss that out, and try your products. I've been trying the eye and the boosts, but now I'm gonna try just the care for night, and I'm so excited to give you guys my review. But it's so far so good. Thank you so much, Amitay. Until next time,
Thank you for
bye.
having me.
Well, guys, that is a wrap. If you are still listening, thank you so much for being a loyal listener. I am sure that the content that you are getting today and next week, obviously for the next episode, is going to be super exciting. We are going to be interviewing some heavy hitters coming up. The podcast is taking a turn, and I am so excited to share it with you guys. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you know what I say, sharing is caring. If you know anyone who is interested in anything beauty, biohacking, mind and soul and spirit and holistic health and all of the things that I talk about, and if you know me in real life, if you follow me on Instagram, on Clubhouse, and now Green Room, you will know that that is my jam. I love to bring them in all together. And they said it couldn't be done, but guess what? Tell a girl it can't be done and she will do it. So I am going to be delivering some amazing content coming up, and I'm super excited. So you know the drill, guys. Share this with at least 3 to 5 people who you know who are going to be interested in any of those topics. Follow me on IG, which you know, Elizabeth__Molina. Let me know how you guys are finding the podcast, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.